We are live, baby! Welcome to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John, that is Lacey, and we're here to talk about Star Wars. We have a great show in store for you. As always, I'd like to think. We have Will of the Force. We got some news to talk about. Empire, the full article. We're going to dive into that, including some of the new images, the new bad guys that have already been around. And then we have Kathleen Kennedy spilling the beans about this guy, Grogu. Not a freaking word from this guy. Nothing. Nothing. Look at him. Look at that mouth shut.
How dare you?
Look at my ring light in his eyes.
I know. It just makes me think of one of my favorite things I say all the time. Michael Scott, where he's like, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
And we also have, of course, the reason any of us do any of this or love anything to do with Star Wars, the guy who invented it in his brain, George Lucas, accepted his third award. So we'll talk about that in a little bit and how special that was to see the man who invented all this stuff. And then we'll get to some questions if you got them at the end of the show. So if you do have a Star Wars question, or as we're talking about this stuff throughout the episode, and you have a question you want us to discuss on the show, we'll do it in Ask the Resistance. So just pop it in the chat. Use the hashtag Ask the Resistance. Lacey or I will pop it into the queue, and we will get after it. But Lacey, how are you? How you doing? Are you finally better? Is it over?
I am better. I'm finally. This
really took a toll on me.
2.5 months. That is not an exaggeration. It like wouldn't leave me. I think having really good weather in the Northeast the past 3-4 days, I was outside the entire day with my kids and like windows open, air out the house, get all that yuck out. Has really helped me, because yes, I'm good now. Thank God.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So we have some updates for everybody. Obviously, before we do any of that, I just want to say thank you if you are joining us live, or if you're listening on your favorite podcast app. You know, maybe you're an Apple Podcast listener, maybe you're a Spotify listener. If you have a second and you haven't done it yet, can you rate us on those podcast apps, whether it's Apple, Spotify, wherever? Just click the 5 stars if you love us. Leave a review if you'd like. We really appreciate that level of support. And then we'll get into other ways you can support us later. But we do have super chats available if you are joining us live, and that will light speed your comment right to the front of the list. I know we do have one in the holster already. Let's just get to that now, because I have a feeling it's going to be a really good one. Let's see. I haven't seen these. I'm using
such
the Force.
A liar. All right. Super
see.
chat from David Ford, 1564. What up, David? He says, if you I love your podcast. Johnny is a hottie. Don't do this. Don't. let's not go here. But thank you for the support.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. We do have an update for everyone. In case you are under a rock, or I'm just kidding. In case you didn't check out our last episode or our social media, we will be doing a special show for the coverage of Maul Shadow Lord, and our show will be airing live on April 7th. It is called I'm Just Maul. He's not a Sith anymore. He's not a Lord. He's just Maul. He's doing Maul things, and we're going to have a great time, especially because we're bringing back all the aesthetics that we do on these coverage shows. So we're going to have a rating scale. We're still debating on what that's going to be, but it's going to be the 0 to 10s.
We got to do Sam Witwer faces.
Sam Witwer faces works for me. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Sam Witwer.
We'll do Sam Witwer faces.
Sam Witwer with like these sunglasses.
Okay. Okay. We will see what happens with that. But yeah, maybe we'll do Sam Witwer faces then. I do like that idea. And then we're going to have a season-long giveaway contest, as we like to do, which is always a good time. But it's going to be a short one. It's going to be 4 weeks, but 2 episodes every week. So we're going to have James back for that entire run. So James will be with us live every Tuesday night to talk about Maul Shadow Lord on I'm Just Maul. It's going to be a great time. It'll probably be around 8:30 East, starting on April 7th. We're going to talk about each episode and have a really good time. So be sure to tune in, and that'll be here on our YouTube channel and, of course, on podcast apps Wednesday morning. So what will probably happen from us with that run, we'll be doing the live shows covering Maul. I mean, if there's other Star Wars to talk about, we'll sprinkle that in there probably at the end of those shows. But Tuesday night live through that 4-week run, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is. And then on podcast apps the Wednesday morning. And then that means Nerdy and Nice will probably flip to coming out the end of those weeks for the people who just can't get enough of us and you love both of our shows, which we appreciate so much because Nerdy and Nice.
I got a lot to say about Love is Blind, so buckle up.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. So yeah, I'm Just Maul live April 7th to talk about Maul Shadow Lord. Gonna be a good time.
James is back.
James is back for the entire run of Maul Shadow
So stop
Lord.
asking us. He's coming back. Jeez.
He's coming back. Yeah. All right, Lacey, anything else before we dive into the show?
Just really quick, normal stuff. Like this video, comment, subscribe, share on social media, let people know about us. Social media is kind of a mess. Like everything's just weird. So share us via email. If you have questions for us, you can email us. That's the best way to reach us is resistancebroadcast@gmail.com. But yeah, just thanks for your support. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, Lacey, let's kick things off with a vintage TRB segment.
Okay, 1 second. This is being so funky tonight. I don't know what's going on with this
Funky Cold Medina.
Funky cold segue not working.
Yeah, that's fine. I can sing to people. I started writing lyrics for I'm Just Maul, so we can do that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to say?
Should I save it? Should I save it for I'm Just Maul, the show?
Yeah, you know what? I don't really know what's going on, so we're just gonna go right into it, guys. I don't want to try too hard.
It's Will of the Force, guys. You know what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get this fixed in the time that we're sitting here. It's just not letting me scroll for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, fun fact, live show. This is Will of the Force. So this is one of your guys' favorite segue segment, if you will, where you can ask will they, won't they questions via Patreon. So like I just said before, social media, sharing our show, telling people about us, liking us on here on YouTube, social media, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave a review, that kind of stuff all helps. But if you want to be more active in the community and support what we're doing here, you can head over to patreon.com/TRB podcasts. And by supporting the show starting at $5, you can be a part of the show by suggesting topics, seeing exclusive mini episodes, chatting with other fans, getting updates on what we're doing, merch exclusives, and much, much more. And so this is one of those segments that you get to be a part of by asking questions. Oh God, Mordo slosh me here. I forgot about Go ahead, do the Chewbacca line. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like I'm gonna kill it, but
why?
Who the hell is Chewbacca?
You know what? Fun fact, a little behind the scenes fun fact for anybody that likes to use a system like StreamYard. If you have too many images loaded into your system like I do right now, that's why it's acting funky. So I'm going to have to do a little cleaning while we're doing this. But
right, well, keep that behind the scenes. Yeah.
Well, some people like that stuff. You know, it's whatever. It's because we're so engaged in all this mall stuff. I have like 60 mall images in here.
Also, we do, before we get into the topics, we do have a listener who's in the chat who may or may not have proposed to Hayden Christensen at Emerald CityCon this past weekend. Darth Snips got to meet Hayden, took a photo with Hayden, and I don't know if she actually proposed or not. I don't know if there's a ring in that finger. Did the
proposal happen?
Yeah.
Did it happen?
Is Snips now Darth Padme? we'll see. But she did. She proposed. Good for you.
But you know what time it is, right? It's time for this.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
There it is. That's the good stuff.
I figured it out, guys. High five, virtual high five.
Oh, right. Wait, we have a super chat. Got to get to it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's about my looks. It's from Heinz Christie. Hi, Christy. How are you?
You're the best. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. Hope life is good. Christy said, social media is currently a dark pit of despair, but TRB and Nerdy Nights are the two best bright spots out there. Thank you, Christy, very
Aw,
much.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
means a lot, seriously, because sometimes you just gotta kind of tune it out. It's a little too much.
Yeah, this podcast has been helping my sanity, like escaping for a couple hours every week. Just
100%.
oof.
100%.
All right.
All right, kicking it off this week, we have a Patreon submission from Major Marty. What up, Marty? And he said, if the hunt for Ben Solo ever sees the light of day, who else will we see in it? For example, through flashbacks, it could give much more insight into Snoke. John, what do you think?
When I thought about this movie or read about it and all that stuff, my brain never went to flashback. My brain always ran to that beloved blank canvas we always talk about in this podcast. So I didn't think about like, oh, they can touch on Snoke and like that Kylo Ren comic did. But I think it would incorporate Rey. I think it would incorporate people like that. I don't know how much they like Soderbergh and Adam Driver were like, oh, we got to get everyone in there. So bring the droids back, bring Chewie in there. I would like to think that Chewbacca has to be involved in some way, just because of the relationship that existed. Being a sort of uncle to Ben, and maybe Lando is involved or something like that because he was Uncle Wando. But I think Chewie, Rey, maybe the Falcon. I think it would be really awesome if something happened where Ben Solo got to fly the Millennium Falcon. So that's where my brain went. I don't know about you. What about you, Lacey?
Yeah, for me, the hunt for Ben Solo was more like it was going to be an intertwined story of his escaping wherever he is / people looking for him. Whether it's like he gives them a sign he's alive and Rey goes looks for him, or like parallel to each other throughout the whole story. That's the way I saw it. So I would imagine that because it's Ben Solo specific, I don't know if we're going to get more insight into Snoke as much as like probably some terrifying flashbacks or voices or like waking up, like startled awake type stuff. I would imagine the hunt for Ben Solo was more about his connections with his parents, maybe like you said, childhood memories, just more about the character of Ben Solo.
Yeah.
We haven't seen who that is. We got to see him for a part of the movie in this kind of heroic moment, but we don't know who that is. So that's what I imagined for that. And I kind of don't want to see more of Snoke. I would have if he didn't die. Is that fair to say? Like, if that character wasn't sliced in half, like bleh, on the ground, then I would care to see more of that character and like want to know more of his story. But because he has such like a lackluster, not the action of him dying, the moment of Ben Solo / Kylo Ren killing him with the lightsaber, epic. But I'm saying as the character itself dying, it's kind of like he didn't really play out anything in the rest of the films. So
yeah, and also now that we know he's a clone strand of Palpatine, it's like there's no like real mystique left to uncover. It's just we know, especially through that comic run and everything you hear of like how he intercepted him and how he groomed him, and there's not a lot of mystery left beyond the years where he first becomes Kylo Ren and earns the Jedi Killer moniker. But if this is supposed to be about moving forward and a redemption or revival of Ben Solo, then I don't think they would dip too far back into Kylo Ren. We got a lot of Kylo Ren.
We did.
We didn't get any Ben Solo.
More than other characters.
Yeah.
I would say more than, John Boyega or Finn's character. We got more Kylo Ren, especially in Last Jedi. We talked about that last week. Like, The Last Jedi, I would argue, is kind of Kylo and Rey's movie. Like, it's their movie.
Oh, yeah. At the expense of everyone else, but no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We did have another super chat run in before the next topic.
Okay, go for it.
This is from House of Vizsla.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What up? House of Vizsla, how you guys doing? Thank you very much. They said, been a fan of TRB for a while. You've inspired me to create a Star Wars pod. Oh my God, that's crazy. Thank you. Thanks for
Oh,
all
that's
you
so
do.
awesome.
Thanks for all you do
Yay.
in the community. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Really appreciate it very much.
Nice.
That's
Best of luck.
crazy.
My
But
best
thank you.
advice is just talk about what you like to talk about.
Have a
All the
good
rest,
time.
all
Have
the
fun.
other stuff will fall in place. But yeah, that's so
Have a-
awesome. Go support
Thank you
those
very
guys.
much.
Enjoy. All right, next question. Patreon submission, Commander Ian Thompson. What up, Ian? He asks, assuming Kathleen Kennedy was being fully honest in saying that Grogu will not speak in the movie. We're gonna get to that in a second. What will be the moment or thing that has people saying, "Can you believe we saw that?" when they walk out of the theater? Ooh, good question. I have an answer already because we've been talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
I guess I'll go first. I think he's going to pull out Yoda's lightsaber. I think that's the next kind of big moment. And it makes sense as like a oh yeah moment that we saw in the prequels, and we know from ILM Lucasfilm people like Rob Coleman, who said that Yoda moment in the theater when he saw it in the theater with fans was like unbeatable as such a hype moment. And
I
when you
jumped out of my seat. I remember exactly that
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
and I think my jump out of my seat moment, honestly, because I was a little young for those movies. I didn't have the same kind of
Ow.
energy. No, I'm saying like I don't have the reaction that I have now. I remember openly jumping out of my seat and screaming when Vader lit up his lightsaber in Rogue One and went down the hallway. Like that for me was like so epic. But yeah, they need a moment like this. So first of all, Ian, great point. I think they do need a moment like this for people to leave the theater and get people being like, you need to go see this. But it is the lightsaber thing makes sense to me because lightsabers are synonymous with Star Wars. When people see lightsabers, they know it's Star Wars, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, along with stormtroopers and, certain spaceships, etc. I also think that when we are about to talk about these interviews that have been coming out lately, like the Empire Magazine one, a lot of people have said that they want that big moment, an epic adventure for fans and their families and for younger generations. And that would be a moment that would be stuck with people for a very long time if he lit up a lightsaber, because we haven't seen him do that yet. We've only seen him running, not talking, and doing Force stuff. But in the case of being a Jedi, we haven't seen him really use a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, John?
Yeah, agreed completely. I think, Jon Favreau, who is a kid who grew up with the original trilogy, saw the first movie when he was probably 9 or 10 years old. At bare minimum, lightsabers are the coolest thing in Star Wars, and they always will.
100%.
And they
How
always
epic
will
do you
be.
feel when you hold
So-
one, like at Celebration or at
Right.
Disney parks. Yeah.
So, Jon Favreau is not making a Star Wars movie and not getting a lightsaber in there. And I don't think there's going to be a new dark saber created or anything like that. This is the only path, logically, unless there's some wild, unless they do have CG Luke swinging into the frame with a lightsaber all of a sudden in the third act and take over the whole movie. I don't think that's happening because that will take away from the purpose of this movie, which is Mandalorian and Grogu. So you get Luke Skywalker in this movie, that's all people are going to talk about, and then people are going to be like, well, I don't know how I feel now because they needed Luke Skywalker to come save their movie. Yeah. So I don't think Luke's showing up. So it all points to a big dramatic lightsaber moment with Grogu. We talked about it recently that for whatever reason, they're reintroducing that Book of Boba Fett Yoda lightsaber.
I was also going to add was the
with all the merch.
Yeah.
With all of the Mandalorian and Grogu merch. So let's just throw this Book of Boba Fett lightsaber for no reason right back into the listing. And I think based on what we're going to talk about in a little bit when we talk about the Empire Magazine stuff, I think there is going to be a massive musical swell from Ludwig Göransson to pair with that. And it's going to create one of those iconic Star Wars moments that we're going to see in those Star Wars Celebration montages and Star Wars
Disney
montages
montages.
moving forward. That's what it's going to be. I'll also pair it with he's going to do something with the Force. I know they keep teasing the Force healing stuff because he did it, and not teasing it, but they did it. He healed Grief Karga, Rey healed Kylo Ren, as well as that snake. The Vexus, I think it was called. But so maybe something like that, but it's going to be him, whatever powers has been teased, because Favreau likes to earn things. So the thing about the powers that Grogu has shown us, he can suspend things, he can lull things to sleep, he can heal things, he can force push. We're going to see the next level of what that is now that he's harnessing it more. And also at the same time, that big lightsaber moment. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I do want to bring up Scott in the chat is saying, did Grogu swipe it before he left Luke? LOL. I thought you had to choose between the chainmail in the chainmail for protection. This isn't like out there. My headcanon is that he chose the chainmail because he wanted to go back to Mando, and Luke gave it to him anyway. And that we don't know that per se. I think Luke just did. Like, hey, you made the choice you wanted to make, but what is Luke doing with Yoda's lightsaber that he needs to keep it, you know?
And what, I mean, it's Star Wars too. It's like, what was Maz Kanata doing with Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber? Like,
story for another time, which we never got, by the way.
Like, there was a comic saying like it might have been found in a trash heap by somebody, and I'm just like, I don't know. And the original thing was that it burned up with his hand in The Force Awakens. It was supposed to be Luke's hand in the atmosphere and all that. Remember that?
Mm-hmm,
so. And that's they've turned that into the Excalibur lightsaber. And if we have a mystery on how Maz got that thing, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal if there's some wild way that Yoda's lightsaber found its way back to Grogu.
They did just change it to Rey, though. It's not Luke's anymore. It's just Rey's.
What?
The lightsaber. Like, it used to be Luke/Rey's. It's just Rey's now. Like, any box or anything. It's just Rey's. Yeah. Just a friendly reminder, guys, to send in your questions for Ask the Resistance. If you didn't make it in Will of Force, don't worry. You can ask your question and ask the Resistance at the end.
That's right.
But before we get into our next segment, which is the Resistance Report.
Well, no, we have one more.
Oh, right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, Dennis.
I'm so sorry. All right. Dennis, you're so wonderful, and I apologize. I got a lot of stuff I'm queuing up here. You'll see in a second. All right. So final question from Patreon submission, Major Dennis Gill. Nice last name. As a Gillerin myself. Dennis asks, will we ever see Ahsoka and Luke's first meeting? I want Ahsoka to learn what happened to Anakin in Return of the Jedi. John, what do you think?
I think that would be really cool. I just don't. You know what? Screw it. I think we will. And I think we're going to see it in Ahsoka season 2. I think it's going to be a flashback or something like that because Anakin's still going to be involved, right? So maybe Anakin speaks to Luke. Like maybe there's an Anakin and Luke scene. Maybe there is that Ahsoka Luke scene. I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to speculate wildly and get bananas and say we're going to see that flashback or that scene where Ahsoka first meets Luke, and that's going to be in Ahsoka season 2. They want to beef that stuff up. They want to. I mean, what was the number one by a million miles? The number one viewed episode of Ahsoka. Take a wild guess which one it was.
The one with Hayden Christensen, because it was epic, and it was my favorite episode of the season.
And by a landslide. That had viewership that crushed all the other episodes of Ahsoka.
By the way, I believe he looked so much better in that episode than he did in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
10 times better. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they recognize that. They understand the metrics and what's been going on with Disney Plus, and they're like, Dave, if whatever ideas you have, you want to get Luke in there, let's get Luke in there. Let's get people's eyeballs on these episodes. So I think we might see that in Ahsoka season 2.
That shot, which I know everybody loves it because I'm not that original in that sense, but the shot where he's walking away in the orange smoke and he goes from that to Vader lives in my head rent free.
Yeah,
it is one of my favorite shots in Star Wars ever. Like if we did a Kessel run of favorite shots in Star Wars, it would be in my top 4.
Yeah.
It's so epic. Anyway, so I have to give my answer now.
Lacey couldn't want to move on from Will of the Force faster.
It's not even that. It's, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yes.
And to be completely transparent, my daughter is screaming in the background, so my brain is like short circuiting a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I apologize if I seem a little like what's going on, because my brain is going what, and then I'm trying to read the notes. That being said, I am trying to wrap my brain around. I feel like Dave Filoni gave a quote about this meeting and said that it happened off screen. Am I making that up? I feel like he talked about this and he was like, "Oh, well, you don't need to see that. Like that's a private moment."
Well, yeah, because when we see them in Book of Boba Fett, that's where we see, right? So they clearly already had connected. So he's saying like, "Yeah, I'm showing you this because I'm not showing you their first one." So
was he asked about that, or am I just like assuming based on what they showed us?
Well, it's just assumed because we see them knowing each other in Book of Boba Fett. So clearly there was a first meeting that happened that we haven't seen.
Yeah. Okay. So my personal answer is I want to see this moment. I love Luke Skywalker. I cried when he rolled up in Mandalorian like a baby at 3:30 in the morning. Do I think they're going to show us this? No. I think it's just going to be assumed that she knows based on what we have seen, and they're not going to show this specific moment. I think they're going to save that moment for those characters. Like, you don't have to show everything. It's just going to be assumed.
Yeah. A lot of people in the chat seem to think that Grogu's just a little thief. He's going to steal it.
No, I just had that.
A few people put that in. Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I put that on the screen because I was like, I mean, yeah. Spoony one here, Grogu naughty, could have totally stolen it. I mean, yeah, he could have. I just feel like Luke is the type of character that would be like, you made the choice that's right for you, but here, you can have this from our time together, I guess. I don't know. All right. Done with Will of the Force. Now,
all right.
Before we head into Resistance Report, we're going to hear from us and a little message from some of our friends at propstore.com.
The Prop Store Entertainment Memorabilia Live Auction is taking place March 25th to March 27th, and if you're a fan of Star Wars or movie history, this thing is basically the equivalent of finding a Jedi Temple.
Prop Store is auctioning off over 1,300 film and TV props across 3 days, plus 200 pieces of original animation artwork, and some of the Star Wars items are incredible.
We're talking about things like a light-up C-3PO head from The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Maul's lightsaber from The Phantom Menace, a Joe Johnston TIE Fighter storyboard from A New Hope, and even George Lucas's handwritten story outline pages for Return of the Jedi.
This is the kind of stuff that belongs in a museum.
Or in the collection of a very lucky Star Wars fan.
So if you've ever wanted to own a real piece of movie history, now's your chance. Check out the full catalog and register to bid at propstore.com.
Good luck, and may the bidding be with you.
It's the Resistance.
All right. So anytime anything comes up with George Lucas, we're going to talk about it on this podcast. George Lucas recently made a public appearance. Yeah. He's that guy from Modesto. So George Lucas made a public appearance at the Saturn Awards. He looked great. He sounded great. It was good to see as he approaches his 82nd birthday this May. But he accepted the Dr. Donald A. Reed Founders Award at the Saturn Awards. It was presented to him by Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, and he even got a shout from Tom Cruise out of the audience thanking him. So Tom Cruise, biggest movie star maybe ever, shouting from the crowd like a fan. Thank you, George Lucas. That's all you really need to know about what people think about George Lucas.
To clap, to get the standing ovation. Tom started it with Chris McQuarrie.
It's very cool to see that. And so what that award is, the Donald A. Reed Founders Award at the Saturn Awards. It's a prestigious honorary award presented by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, and it honors individuals for their pioneering contributions, extraordinary impact, and this year it was awarded to George Lucas for his work in cinema. The only thing that's weird to me is that how did he not win the first one of those? Do you know what I mean?
One would think that he would, but
like, was it L. Ron Hubbard, and like that's why Tom Cruise is there in the front row? But anyway, we're not playing the video of it or anything, but he gave a nice 2-minute speech, and he in the most George Lucas way for someone who has like $7 billion and is considered one of the most innovative and greatest filmmakers of all time. He sat there and thanked the audiences and the fans and the people who watch this stuff. And he's been banging that drum for a long time. He's always been a very humble man. And I just love what he had to say. It was a relatively simple speech, but so humble and in such a way that you're like, if that man could be that humble, then there's no reason for everyone not to be humble. And he even said, like, I think this is only my 3rd award. And I was like, that's probably true. And that's insane to me, because
insane.
George Lucas is like a god to me. So, Lacey, what'd you make of George Lucas, seeing him, his speech, Mark Hamill, the whole package?
Well, it's nice to see anytime you get to see George and Mark together. I think it's just so wholesome because they've changed so many people's lives, including ours, and all of you in the comments, of course. But it's just so funny anytime Tom Cruise is somewhere, he makes such a splash because he is so passionate and so in love with movies that even when he had a breakdown during COVID and was like yelling at people, it was the most like high five inspiring, like, yeah, man, movies moment, even though he was mad. Like, he's just kind of captured that iconic image of the person that's fighting for movies, fighting for movie theaters, fighting for the industry in a way that not a lot of people are. So when you see him as such kind of a face of pop culture and what's cool and just like a different tier of movie star than most people nowadays, standing up and saying, thank you, George, you're the person that started a lot of this. It's inspiring. It's like, oh yeah. And you wish people would be more, I feel, respectful of Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars has gotten to a point that it's been kind of pushed into this box as like a fandom thing. Like, oh, it's a franchise. It's like Marvel. It's like, it's not. Star Wars is not Marvel. Star Wars is not, Hunger Games or DC or any of these other things. Star Wars is in its own level, its own, like, it should be respected in a way that I think a lot of people don't give it respect for. So it's nice to see it happening in real life with Tom Cruise, but it's not surprising. I think he would have gotten, a shout out and or a standing ovation whether Tom Cruise was there or not. But man, does Tom Cruise, whether he goes to a movie, he's like the guy with the popcorn taking pictures with his ticket and like he's all about it. And I mean, I would have done the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's nice to see someone famous doing something that I would have done, which is like not being able to control my emotions and just yelling out into the room like, "You're the best, George." You know. It's really funny, but
Star Wars is different. It is special, and it has become like people's modern mythology, and almost in that religious sense where it can be those, like George Lucas said, it's, he wrote a story for 10 to 12-year-olds that are going to be going through, puberty and tough times in their life and understanding like you have paths to take in life, and that stuff really holds true. And it's, it's simple framework. That he didn't originate, obviously, Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell, Kurosawa, we know all the beats, but he really captured something by taking a space movie and telling a fantasy story versus a like a defeating post-apocalyptic sci-fi thing that people were so used to. Like, like I watched the other day. I watched like the ending scene of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't love that movie. I think it's too long for me, but I do respect it, and it's just such a watching what like Hal does to David, and especially the AI world we're living in now, and that's like one of my fears. But you go from that in the 70s to Star Wars, and people must have been like, "Oh my god, like this movie's funny. It's it's charming. It has
Romantic.
romance, but it just happens to be taking place in space." So people,
Space
mix it up
Odyssey
with
people
science
were like,
fiction,
I
but-
don't want space at all. Leave that space away from me.
Yeah, so he created something on its own, and people, like he said, people kept, like, once Star Wars came out, people just, all the studios tried making, he called them space movies, and he's like, what they didn't understand was I was telling stories about people, and they wanted to tell stories about phasers and lasers and the actual science fiction of it, and
Yeah.
that's why Star Wars was so special. People saw themselves in these characters. But anyway.
Yeah, I do want to bring up a comment really quick. Alexander Wilson 3724, what up, man? He says Marvel existed before Star Wars. I 100% agree with
true.
you. Yes,
That is a fact.
it did. When I was speaking about it, I was talking more about the Marvel movies per se than the Marvel comics.
Right.
Because I do think the Marvel movies, I'm not saying all of them because there's so many of them, but some of them I just don't think are the same level as Star Wars. I think like, and it's not like me trying to put Marvel down per se. I just think the world building and just the themes of the story and how many people's lives were changed by Star Wars is not equivalent to Marvel, I would say.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement? I don't want to make
That's
anybody
fair.
upset. I'm sorry, Alexander. If I upset you, I didn't mean to.
No, you didn't upset him enough because he popped in with a super chat here. So let's get to it.
Sure.
Alexander Wilson 3724. What up? Thank you, Alex.
Hi again.
He said, "Don't forget, George based Star Wars on real life. I think he means events and people."
Yes.
Yes. Palpatine was based on Richard Nixon. That's why it worked. Yeah, we all know that. We've seen it.
Yeah, Vietnam, which they actually talk about in something we're going to talk about later tonight in the.
Thank you very much for the super
thanks.
chat. And
Thanks
thanks
so
for
much.
being in the chat, man. Appreciate it.
I do want to give a couple more just shout outs because we're just doing it right now because people are watching on Instagram and I feel bad because I can't bring Instagram quotes on the screen like I can on YouTube. It's just not allowed. So I
Yeah.
do want to give out a shout out to all the people watching on Instagram. Marcito716 said, "Good evening, all. It's TRB live time." B Moral 96, what up? They said, "Hey guys, long time listener, first time getting to catch a live. Much love." Thank you so much.
Yeah, right.
We appreciate it. That's
Thanks.
so awesome of you. We really appreciate it. And then the Chris ATX says, "Good to know. We'll stick with the restream." Talking about how I was like messing up earlier. So thanks for the support, Chris. I appreciate
All right.
it. We are truly live. There is nothing fake about any of this.
Yes.
I just mess up all the time.
Yes. And you don't, and everything is great. But we have more stories to get into before we get into your questions from the chat. The next being, someone touched on it in the submitted Will of the Force question, but Kathleen Kennedy with Variety now discussed the handoff, how long Dave Filoni was in the picture for taking over, including Lin-Wen Brennan as well. And also, she's just sort of ripped the Band-Aid off and threw it out there saying that Grogu will not speak in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, that had a lot of people, some people upset because they didn't want to know that. I have my thoughts on it as to why it might be a good thing that she said it, not a good thing that he's not talking. But Lacey, I'm going to throw it to you first. Kathleen Kennedy, former Lucasfilm president. It's weird to say that. But
it is weird.
After 14 years almost, that is the case. What are your takeaways from this interview? I don't think it's a lot of earth-shattering stuff beyond what she revealed about the Mandalorian and Grogu, but anything jump out at you? Anything surprising? Anything cool you wanted to touch on with Kathleen Kennedy's latest?
So first of all, I really appreciate that this article talks about the sound people and their awards, because I feel like I just recently said this on Nerdy and Nice or on TRB that I feel oftentimes my favorite movies are the ones that have the best sounds or soundtrack or sound design. It transports you into another world, into the story, into the movie. And I mean, we've said it so many times that Star Wars wouldn't be what it is without John Williams music and sound effects done by people like Ben Burtt, who presented this award, by the way, who's responsible for like every sound effect that is the coolest thing in Star Wars. So I appreciate that. First of all, those people are getting a shout out in this article because they really do appreciate it. And it's funny because we were just talking about the Adam Driver bar last week. So sounds like really in this past couple weeks. I found it interesting talking about E.T. She mentioned that they found some random person in a store that smoked a bunch of cigarettes that Ben Burtt was like, "Can I record you? Is that okay?"
Oh, yeah.
And the thing I loved about this is not only is it some random person that's E.T., but that sound people really think like that. It's like a different brain than most of us, that when they hear something weird, they immediately have to record it. I recently interviewed someone that does sound design for a project I was working on, and he would say he'd walk by like a drain pipe that's making a weird noise, and he'd have to go get his recorder and come back and record it. Like, they just think differently. So it's kind of fun to see it in this article where she's giving that kind of shout out to those people that create everything we know and things that we don't know yet, but we'll fall in love with. It's just with sound. It's like so magical. All right, so let's get to the main point here, which is she talks about Grogu. And I do want to read the actual quote that she said, because I at first was like, oh, that's not that bad. And then I was like, oh, never mind. Because when I was reading this article, she says, quote, "Another perfect example of a character that has to emote and you have to feel connected to, and he never speaks a word." That's the first quote she gives. And this is backstage after she won the award. And when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, maybe they misspoke this then. They miscommunicated what she actually said. But then she does go on to say, she says that audiences will fall in love deeper with him on the big screen. And this is a quote, "and he never says a word." So I was like, oh no, he doesn't talk. And I had this like sinking dread feeling, because I'll admit, I'm one of the biggest people that's like, he has to talk in this movie. Like, that's got to be the big moment for him. Because how long can you do the goo goo gaga thing? I don't know if we can. I'm definitely disappointed. We just did a Patreon mini episode about this. I am definitely disappointed about this release, because I would have liked to have figured this out in the movie. Like, I'm getting this information from her out of context. I'm getting it as, oh yeah, he doesn't talk. But I haven't seen the story that makes sense for him not to talk. Because again, the story is not my story to tell. I'm there as the viewer. I'm there as the fan. I'm excited to see it. But I don't know that he doesn't talk. I feel like it's a big spoiler. She just gave away a big spoiler. And I'm a little disappointed, because we talked about it weeks ago with the toys. Like, they have that baby toy coming out of action-packed Grogu. He has 50 plus sounds. So literally the sounds have to be either force sounds, other animals that like maybe he punches them in the face or something, like a couple goo goo gagas, maybe a patoo here and there, because that's the only word he ever says. But he's not talking. That's weird. That's weird to me, is it not? Do you not think it's weird? Because you said that you thought that maybe you'd be okay with it. I don't know. I just feel like we've done the baby thing for so long that I need a little more.
So I think it's a good thing in some respects that she revealed this, because there's a certain portion of fans who are gonna come out of that, like go into that movie, who are not like you and I, where we're like, oh, he needs to talk in this movie, and if he doesn't, we're like, oh, he didn't talk. All right, we'll move on. Some people are like, oh, I can't believe I paid, and it was the same thing. He's the same character. He was just on the big screen. That would happen. Now people don't have the excuse, because you have the ex-president of the studio here saying it in a major trade. It obviously went everywhere. We're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. I think it's good to get that out of the way. So now people going into the movie aren't sitting down for 2 hours saying, when is he going to do it? When's the moment? When is he going to talk? Oh, I know it's coming. And then after 2 hours, it doesn't happen. They're like, they focus so much on this freaking character talking that they missed enjoying the rest of the movie. So I like it from that respect. I also don't think she's being coy. I think what she is saying is 100% accurate, because you're not going to play with a movie like this where they're not really sure what they're going to get from a box office perspective.
Yeah.
You're not going to the ex-president is not going to hang Dave Filoni out to dry, who's co-wrote this movie, by the way. He's the president of the studio, and he co-wrote this movie.
And she's been mentoring him for 10 years. She says it in this interview.
By saying he's not going to talk, and then he talks, like, there's no way. So
his final test, she's like, I will lie to the press and you will handle it. It is your final journey, Dave, before you've stepped into the throne of the president of Lucasfilm. You must deal with a lie in the press.
Yeah, I mean, I just,
that's so weird. Like, your final test is here, and he's like, okay, what do I? She's like, I have lied to the press.
He's like, you know what? I'm already the president, so can I fire you? But I think that's 100% lock. He is not going to talk. So I'm going into the movie not expecting, oh, she was fooling us so that we would be surprised. No. She's saying he's not saying a word.
Like, she's out.
He's not saying a word. He's not saying a word. I think that's absolutely true. And what I think my third point is that we touched on it before, so I'm not going to reiterate all this. I think that does, like when you're playing Clue and you rule out the certain rooms and you're like, well, it's got to be this room then because it wasn't in the billiard room. It wasn't in there. I think this points us to, if he's not talking, where's the movement? We talked about it in Will of the Force with that great question from Ian, I believe. It's going to be that lightsaber. It's going to be that force. That's where we're going to see him take that leap. And it looks like in the story we're about to talk about, the rest of the Empire stuff, which actually it seemed like most of that wound up being released at the end of last week anyway. It's clear Grogu is spending a lot of time on his own on this one, and he's going to go through this like journey of self-discovery that we've never really seen him go on to this extent. So I think that's where we're going to end up in the third act of this movie. It's all going to build up to a big moment with the Force, with that lightsaber, in place of him being like, hey, Dad, you know? So, yeah. All right. There's not much else. I mean, she did say like, oh, we were preparing Dave for 10 years and we were preparing Lin-Wen Brennan for 10 years. Like that's all good. I mean, I wasn't that like surprised about any of that. So I don't have much else to add, but
there was one piece that I did want to bring up, which was, she said, quote, she said, I really got into the job when the fan expectations collided with social media. That really has created a kind of explosion. It always has been important to Lucasfilm that the fans are a huge part of what the franchise is. So that was something that was new to me and something that grew over time, but it's remained incredibly important to the company.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of question that a little bit.
Why?
I question how important social media is to Lucasfilm and how, and like what kind of social media is important to them. Because if you find social media important, you're making The Hunt for Ben Solo. You know what I mean? If you find social media important, then Solo would be happening because that was everywhere. And they kind of just, I feel like social media is important when it reinforces what's important to them.
Yeah,
like
that's exactly it. That's it right there. Yeah.
So to me, to say, oh, we care what all the fans say, I think that there is a genuine concern of what the sentiment is. And this is coming from the marketing side of me. So the overall sentiment with the company matters. Like, are people feeling bad about us? Are people feeling good about us? But I don't think that they're sitting there reading tweets going, oh, this is important, this is not important. And I think they only tend to highlight the stuff that supports what they're doing. We've seen it from our own situations over the years of like with Make Solo 2 happen, like everybody was on board for that first year, even the second year. And then all of a sudden it's like everybody stopped talking about it. So I feel like that to me, I was like, I don't know if that's fully true, what you're saying there. It's a little bit of a PR spin. And the other thing that kind of, I'm going to be honest, it irked me a little bit was Patton Oswalt he hosted the event, and when she went backstage, he said that she, quote, had a ritual from freeing her from the nerd mafia she's been trapped with for years. So
He said that. Yeah.
he said that, yes.
Yeah.
I'm saying that irked me that he said that.
Oh.
Because here's the reason, and it's not that I can't take a joke before anybody says that. I think that oftentimes the easy thing to do is to label Star Wars fans as toxic. I think it's the easy thing to do to say, oh, they like it too much. They care too much. They're too vocal. They don't do. But then in the same article, she's talking about how she always cares what fans say. And yet it's become the butt of a joke to be like, oh, well, those Star Wars fans, they're wild. They're wilding out over there. And I don't think that gives fans enough credit. So that irked me a little bit, not because she said that, but because Patton Oswalt said that.
It's low hanging fruit. Like,
I just feel like it's a cheap shot. Like, it felt very but okay, guy.
I don't care about that, because to me that's no different than you get into an elevator in a building and someone's like, cold out there, huh? Because it's like, it's just the low hanging fruit of online fandom, and I'm sure Kathleen Kennedy couldn't care less.
100%. I'm saying by constantly making that joke, it's setting up the constant reiteration that Star Wars fans are crazy. They're all crazy. And I see people saying that online a lot. And I think that if you keep saying it, people around us are going to believe it. So why don't we tone that rhetoric down a little bit? And especially him, because he did. Yeah, he did that whole filibuster thing in Park and Rec, and then it became true in Book of Boba Fett. So I think he needs to pump the brakes a little bit. Like, calling other fans crazy.
All right, let's move on to the Empire article. The whole thing is out. We have some images. We're going to talk about it. Where do you want to start on this? I have some thoughts. I don't know if you want me to dive in. I don't know if you want to get into the images first. What do you think?
You go first. I'm going to be honest. We got some screenshots of the article. I want to go buy it, Empire, before you get mad at me. I am going to go buy this. I just haven't had a chance yet. So I have to pull it back up. But you can go ahead while I do that.
So it seems clear to me that Grogu is on a journey of self-discovery in this movie. I have thoughts on what planets I think are showing up in this movie. But my biggest takeaway from this article, and what I think is going to put this movie over the top, is Ludwig Göransson's score. I don't think people have been talking about it enough. Obviously his resume speaks for itself, but because we haven't really gotten a taste of what this movie is going to sound like from a musical perspective, we know the Mando theme is going to be in there, and we know there's going to be variations of Grogu's theme, and that's where he sort of chimed in on that in this article. And this was my biggest takeaway from this article, because most of the stuff, like I said, had already trickled out by the end of last week, including Pedro Pascal making jokes about Grogu needing to be on the title and stuff. And I love that they're treating Grogu as though he's an actor, and that's why our episode is titled what it is. But he said, quote, and this is Ludwig Göransson, the composer for the Mandalorian series,
insanely talented,
and of course the movie. He said, quote, in season 1, Grogu, is obviously not as much of a presence as he is in the film. Now he's got a lot more screen time. He's a lot more present. He's not a little kid anymore. He's more grown up. He's more independent. And there is a place to take him, which is one of my favorite parts of the film, where you really get to spend some time with him and get to know him. So that got me so excited, because to me, that told me more about what's happening with this character in the movie than anything else I've read so far.
Yeah.
So, because you pair what he said to the images from the trailer, him talking to that creature who's like, "Are you scared?" And he's like, and he's with the Anzellans. He's not with Din there. When is that moment where he's rescuing him in the water, seemingly? I don't know that they're like playing and like swimming. It seems like a rescue of some sort, pairing with that scene where we see him swimming like the Nirvana baby. So this is going to be sort of like a coming of age movie for Grogu. I think they start the movie together. I think they get separated second act and then reunite third act. The second act is where we're going to get that journey for Grogu. Maybe Din is captured. Who knows what's going on there. I have some speculation on where I think the plot pieces fit in. But when I think about that, the music and what Ludwig was saying, so Grogu's theme from the Mandalorian series, which Ludwig composed, is very emotional. It has a lullaby sense to it with the bells that they use and the
childlike,
strings,
whimsical,
very childlike, whimsy, lullaby-ish. And the tracks that stand out the most are Snacks, Back Together, and Reunited from season 2. They all blend that Grogu theme that we first heard in season 1.
Yeah.
And what I think is going to happen is we're going to get that, which is sort of understated and sweet and innocent, and they're gonna give us a major version of that. So more horns, more powerful presence of instruments, large crescendos, that sort of thing, and lift that theme, have it graduate to the next step with him. And I think the music in this movie is what's gonna put this thing over the top in terms of how we feel as fans and how we connect to those characters. And that's no mystery to Star Wars. Think about all the biggest scenes in Star Wars history. There's massive music attached to all of it, really, for the most part. And I think that's what's going to happen in this movie, because if they are reeling it back in, again, I don't see any other Mandalorians anywhere. I think they are reeling it back in where it's him and him, the clan of two. I think Ludwig's music is going to put us over the top, and it's going to be a lot more emotional than a lot of us are expecting. We're all in for the fun ride. We're in for the Din Djarin chess pieces. We're in for Rod of the Hutt. We're in for Hutts. We're in for Scorsese being an Ardenian. We're in for all of the fun adventure. People like using the word romp. I say swashbuckling adventures. But I think that emotional core is subdued in marketing right now. Not sure if that might be the right move, because you want people to see the fun summer movie stuff. But I think people are going to go in and be surprised at how emotional this movie is. That's my guess. And I think the music is going to be the core of that.
That's a great insight. I agree with you. I think all those things. I do want to point out, before I get to my main points of this article, that we had recently just talked about Pablo Hidalgo, how he's like, I'm not involved in anything. And he's literally quoted mentioned in this article from Jon Favreau. And talking about, Filoni says, Pablo Hidalgo, Star Wars lore expert, is always good to answer questions about how Rada showed up.
Wasn't I just talking about that?
And you were just mentioning that. You're like, this guy, he's like, he doesn't want the credit, but like, he's there every time. he's like, I don't do anything. And they're like, thank God we had Pablo Hidalgo here.
He must be so annoyed anytime his name is in an article, because he's always like, I don't know why people think I'm a big important person. I'm not. And then they're always like, so our lore czar, Pablo, and every filmmaker mentions him. It's always him who gets mentioned. So he is very important. He is a big timer, and I respect the hell out of him not wanting to be known as it.
I mean, it's pretty. They always say it. They're like, he's the guy. And it's Dave Filoni, who oftentimes has been explained as the one that knows George's mission and more about the Jedi and et cetera, for him to then say, oh no, Pablo ranks above me in lore.
He was there before him. Yeah.
The other thing that stood out to me is, once again, it's nice to see people living my dream, with Sigourney Weaver holding Grogu and saying he's such a wonderful creature. I was like, oh, it's so nice to see people living my dreams. Because that is an absolute dream of mine, to like get to hold Grogu or some other Star Wars puppet is like the best thing that could ever happen to me. Other than that, I saw that they talked more about Pedro, sorry, 2P names. Pedro being in the suit more and being more active in this movie, doing more action scenes in this movie, which I appreciate, because, previous seasons of the show, you and I have definitely commented that we're like, was he even in this series this time around? But at the same time, I do still hope that even though Pedro does do more stuff and more action sequences and stunt work in the scenes and in the movie, that we still get the credit for the stunt team, because they do so much and they've made this character what it is. So I just hope that they don't overshadow for publicity's sake of like, oh, it's Pedro, and I'm like, oh, but is it? Is it?
Yeah, I don't. I think there has been recognition of that because early on, and maybe the credits will be the same. So I could be wrong, but I know
Yeah.
early on they would refer to Lateef and Brendan as stunt performers, and now I don't think they refer to them as stunt performers anymore. For the Mandalorian.
Yeah, they also have been putting their names up more front in the credits
Yeah.
as the seasons
Yeah.
went on, which was nice. I have to say my favorite part of the article, and I wanted to get it on my phone so I could read the exact quote because it really kind of hit me, like, because I was like, this is exactly what I want to hear from a Star Wars movie. And it's from Dave Filoni, and he says, Star Wars still, I hope, feels special to people. I hope they go with their family. I hope they create a lifelong memory seeing this with their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, whoever takes them. When people talk about Star Wars, often they talk about the people in their life that they've connected with it. You never know where it might lead. I remember my own mom and dad and how much they supported my brothers and my interest in Star Wars, he says. That makes this special. Now the galaxy is his. Or is this is Favreau, right? Or no, this is Filoni. I was right. Okay. That was Dave Filoni. So it just really hit me. Like I found myself kind of like getting a little teary-eyed reading that because I strongly believe that more than any other fandom that I've been a part of or any type of community-based stuff, Star Wars is really special in that it's about how did you get into it? That's always the first question, like who got you into Star Wars? How did you find it? And it's like kind of like a badge of honor as a Star Wars fan to be like, oh, this is how I went on this journey the first time, and this is how it impacted me, and this is where I entered the fandom. So to hear that recognized from Dave Filoni, especially back to back with the comments I felt Kathleen Kennedy were very kind of businessy, corporate. To hear Dave Filoni just say like, hey, I really hope people go to this movie with their family and they remember that they saw it with their family. It hits real hard. And that's what I want from Star Wars. Like they put out that one of the best ads they've ever done in the past few years is the one with Carrie Fisher where she says Star Wars is about family. And it is. It's about connecting with others around you, about these magical stories in a galaxy far, far away. And that's what I want from this movie. I don't think this movie has to change my life. But if it does, that's awesome. But what I'm going to remember is going to the movie theater to see it. The big moments that happen on screen, seeing it with you, John, like going to an experience of seeing these stories in a room with people that love it just as much as you do. And for like the first time, I feel like in several years, reading that in text from Dave Filoni, I was like, he gets it. He understands it. He understands it more than many corporate people do. And I feel like Lucasfilm is in good hands. To the person that wrote this article, they did a good job putting that at the end of the article because it hits like real hard right at the end. But that's the thing that stood out to me the most. I was like, he just wants people to go to this movie and love it. And I hope people do. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's why he's the guy. He's in that role. I think, I think the biggest mistake would be Dave Filoni trying to change his public personality to reflect more of a boss. Like he's in that role because of who he is, and you see interviews with him in years past and he gets teary-eyed talking about like, I hope I am honoring George the right way and all this stuff.
People
like
cheering for him at Celebration.
He's a pretty sensitive dude. And he seems like a good guy, and he really does care about this stuff. And he doesn't want to it's clear he does not want to let George Lucas down. So there's a lot of pressure there too. But I know he's probably always a phone call away for him. But I agree with what you had to say.
Yeah.
That
was my favorite part of the article, honestly, besides the pictures, which we'll get into.
Yeah, and that's a great favorite part. I'm glad we both had two things that we like took away from this article that made us even more excited for this movie. I'm not going to speculate too much. There's a lot. I have a lot more dot connecting I want to try to do, and maybe as we get closer, we can do that because I know you and I are thinking about bringing back an old favorite thing that we used to do in the build-ups to Star Wars movies. So that'll probably be a part of that speculation, and I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
But anything else from the article? Like I said, most of it did trickle out last week, but I think we covered most of it. But yeah, let's get through the photos, and then we'll move on to Ask the Resistance. So go ahead, Lacey. What do we got here?
So the first photo from Empire is, I love this photo shoot. I think it's the perfect thing they could have done.
It's so good. Yeah.
Mando and Grogu on the director's chair, just hanging out backstage. It makes them feel more alive. I think I showed this last week, but Grogu with the clapper. Then we have this shot of Grogu holding on to Mando, which, by the way, I love that he does this now. He's like his little little sidekick on his back.
It's very Yoda Empire Strikes Back with Luke.
Yeah, but even more than that, to me, I think of it more like in video games where you have that sidekick character that hangs out with you, like the BD droid in Jedi Fallen Order that like hangs out, or like, you know, your little quest friend that's like, hey, you need to go this way if you're lost in the video game.
Right.
But it's really cool. It looks awesome. They have some stuff going off in the background, so you know they're going to cause some issues. And then this is the one that everybody's going crazy about, which is the shot of seemingly, it looks like the gladiator space that Rada is fighting with Mando, and they have Grogu in a bird cage. He's like just sitting there like, no, please.
Yeah.
With his hands up on the bar, which is just so sad to see, like, get him out. You know, that
he
meme
looks,
of the guy that's
he
like,
looks pissed though.
Let me in. That's what I think of when I see that. He does look angry. He looks like he's going,
He looks like he's about to break that cage. Because you know he can get out of there at any time he wants. So,
and the funny thing is that it seems like the bird that was in the cage is now above the cage.
Yeah, the bird, like, it was all for show. It was all just to get Grogu trapped in there. Like, that bird can probably come in and come out whenever it wants. And then you have the warlord there who what's the actor's name? Johnny Coyne or something like that?
I don't know, but like the guy with the horns looks sick.
So that guy does look sick. Johnny Coyne is playing an Imperial warlord. He was a member of the Shadow Council from Mandalorian season 3. That hologram,
bringing it back, bringing it back.
So he's one of those dudes. As far as we understand, he is unidentified, but I believe Favreau said fans are gonna like it when they find out his name. So does that mean he is a descendant of somebody? I know there's some rumors from fans on what planet that ice planet is with the Imperial remnants that may be tied to the Tarkin family. So I'm not sure. I also saw people think that the ice planet is Ilum, which eventually gets turned into a Starkiller base. I don't know that it's that. That'd be cool. I still am going base level because it's Favreau. I'm still saying it's probably Hoth, but I don't know.
I mean, the Tauntaun Super Bowl ad, like, to me says, hey, it's Hoth. Like, he doesn't say that happens in the movie, but the fact that he's saying these are Tauntauns, you know what these are, and then it advertises the movie at the end, to me says it's Hoth.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know. Do you want to get into some questions? Are you good?
Let us get into questions.
I've been wondering, what are midi-chlorians?
All right. We have
super chats.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions, so let's get after it, Lacey. What do we got?
So first up, we have Freezy2324. Wouldn't be a show without you, bud. Thank you so much. He said, TRB, why do you think the original trilogy characters haven't gotten the Clone Wars treatment as far as animation goes? Luke, Han, Leia need more love. John, what do you think?
Preaching to the choir. I think we both have talked about it would be amazing to get an OG, OT, Big Three animated series. They did 7 seasons of the Clone Wars that take place in the 3 years in between episode 2 and 3. We know there's 3 years in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I understand there's canon comics that have been filling those gaps, but you're telling me you can't get some stories in animation with the 3 most popular characters. So I'm
There's
freezing.
so
You're
many
preaching the
things
choir,
that they
man.
did between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
And
100%.
thank you for the super chat very much.
And thanks for the super chat from Alexander Wilson 3724. Again, thank you so much. He said, back to Marvel. Besides Andor, I don't think Star Wars has put anything out in the last 40 years that was anything as good as Black Panther. I mean, you're not wrong.
Is this
Black
Ryan
Panther-
Coogler's burner account? Like, what is going on with this guy? 2 super chats about Marvel on a Star Wars podcast.
Alexander,
what up?
I've said this before, I think a couple weeks ago, actually, that one of my favorite shots in all of cinematic history is the upside down shot with Michael B. Jordan. Like, that shot is breathtaking, mind-blowing in Black Panther. Like, that shot of him walking into the throne room where the camera flips upside down changed me in a way. I was like, this is what movies could be. So I agree with you. I think that movie did change a lot of things, and it was so beautiful. Chadwick, miss him so much. Like, it was just so good, and in part because of the soundtrack, because of Ludwig.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see that happen in Mando. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I understand. I get it, man. I understand. I do want to get back to Darth Snips for a second. She said she did propose to him.
Yep.
Hayden Christensen.
Christensen.
And he giggled.
He giggled.
Ugh.
Now we need to know what his giggle sounds like.
sounds
Is it like the tickle giggles from Attack of the Clones when they're like in the field frolicking? Is it that kind of giggle? Like, what's his giggle? That's what we need to find out. How does Hayden giggle?
And then we'll do one more question just because we've been answering a lot of questions throughout the show and we're late on time here. But Freezy, we're going to bring this back to you one more time. Thank you so much. He asks, what will Grogu's first word be? John, what do you think his first word's going to be when he finally talks?
I think it's so there's something about like that species that the mystery of it I love so much. I hope they stick to that. I hope it's very simple in the way that, like, when we first met Yoda, it was just like, it was very like innocent. And I think it would be like just so adorable if it was something like hello. Like, it doesn't need to be anything like monumental. I think it'd be just really cute if, like, in this movie, which he's clearly not doing, if he was on his journeys or something and he came across a creature and he just said hello or something. Like, I hope it's something that simple. It doesn't need to be earth-shattering or groundbreaking. Let's break the ice with a nice little greeting and go about our business. What do you think?
I think it's going to be one of two things. And this is because based on the humor that I know Jon Favreau has and the way that he's been treating Grogu, Baby Yoda, throughout the seasons, which is that he is older than he looks, but still is doing very childlike toddler things. And like even in season 1 where he's like attacking Cara Dune and stuff like that, I think he's either going to say Dank Farrik is going to be his first phrase, or wizard, copying his dad, Din Djarin, who says those things all the time.
Wizard.
I think he's going to copy dad because kids like to do that stuff and repeat back words that you're like, I didn't know they were listening to me, because they're always listening. Fun fact.
How about this one, though? As I agree with you, I think that would be perfect. Wizard would be amazing, too.
Like, he's going to do something crazy and he's just going to go, wizard. Like, it's so funny.
Or what if, because we know, like, one of the recurring themes about him is that, much like a dog or a puppy, bottomless stomach, always eating, always wanting to eat. His big thing is grabbing food. What if his first lines are like, I'm hungry? I think that would be amazing if he's just like, I'm hungry.
Des says it's going to be squeezy. No
Squeezy,
squeezy.
okay.
Baby, no squeezy.
Terry said, give me a whiskey. I know our friends Andy and Chris would love that to be his first line. The Belgian prop builders. But
here you go. One last one. Go ahead.
Hamdam says, Grogu looks up to Din Djarin and says his first words, jacked fish. There it is. That's it. Right there. Right there. Jacked fish. And you can own the Jacked Fish t-shirt by going to trbpodcast.com. Among other things, we got the JJ Incredible shirt. We got Make Solo 2 Happen back for a limited time. We have the Jacked Fish shirt. We have the Endor-themed TRB sweatshirt hoodie, among other things. So check out trbpodcast.com for our store. You can also actually access the podcast there at the bottom of the page, and more coming this year on that site. But that is, and thank you to everybody who had submitted questions. We can probably push these to next week or something. We weren't able to get to all of them as we're up on time. But we want to thank everybody for listening and watching and being a part of TRB. I can't say this enough. I'm not trying to be dramatic about it. It's been a crazy run for me this year. I lost my grandfather. Everything that's going on in the world as I'm raising 2 young kids has me a little worried. And I'm not getting political one way or the other. It's just I'm a dad, and I'm worried about what world am I raising my kids into, and with life and everything else that comes with it, a day job and all that. It's been a challenging year, and doing this podcast every week. When there's some weeks where sometimes I'm like, oh man, I gotta work and then podcast tonight. That happens, and then I show up and I start recording, and I really have a good time every time. And it's been an escape for me, and it's been really helpful for me to be able to do that, not look at my phone, not see what's going on around the world. So I just want to thank everybody who listens or watches or just supports us in any way possible. You're helping me out a great deal, and I thank you all very much. But yeah. All right, Lacey, we went through all our plugs. We did all of that. I do want to give special shout outs to the Patreon generals and Spice Runners. The massive level of support from these people keeps us going. And so does how everybody supports us. But a big shout out to the generals on Patreon: Carmelo, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Christian Morales, Mike Ramori, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, and Darth Snips. Stephen, I know you had popped in our Discord that you got some great news about work. I'm happy to hear that, buddy. And Darth Snips, like you said, you got a giggle. You didn't get a no. We'll see what happens at Celebration. Keep asking. The Spice Runners.
Is so good looking that he was probably like, I don't know what I want to say right now.
He's like, you're actually out of my league. So
yeah.
The Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gellner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, the Fort Worthian, and Brian Smith, who always chimes in with a nice super chat. But however you support TRB, thank you all so much. We appreciate it very, very much. We'll be back with you next week with TRB Live. Johnny Hoey from Me on Blue Sky is my main spot for all this stuff. And just like the movies, my movie podcast, and of course, Nerdy Nice with the great Lacey Gillerin, as always. We did skip this past Monday, just ran into some stuff. We couldn't get a Nerdy Nice out, but we have a new one coming out for you on Monday.
Sorry, guys.
And now, Lacey Gillerin, where can people find you to chat about everything?
Man, it's hard to follow all that. But agreed, ditto. Everything he said is also what I think as well. You guys are the best, and we wouldn't be here without you, to put it plainly. Also, thank you to our sponsors tonight. Propstore.com. We appreciate you for supporting the show, supporting TRB. Make sure to go check out on their awesome auctions. Like, they have crazy stuff up there. We talked about a lot of the Star Wars stuff, but they have like the mechanical rhino from Ace Ventura. They have Batman stuff. They have one of the penguins with like the bomb on it from Batman. They have just crazy
Game of Thrones
items.
stuff,
Like,
Horse Hammer,
Thor's
hammer. I said horse hammer.
Thor's hammer, yeah. So many things, including Black Panther. Alexander Wilson. Black Panther is also up for auction, so definitely go check that out. Remember to like this video and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And then just as a little side plug, I've been working on this cool project called Art Show with Captain Skinner. If you want to go check it out, that'd be really cool. It's really funny. It's just like this. It's a great sense of humor. And we actually might be having Skinner on the show soon. So check it out. Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for us. We hope everyone's doing well. We hope you have an awesome weekend. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Spread the word, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time right here on TRB. See you around, kids.